Facebook did a study where it surveyed the top 1% of advertisers. These guys are spending, tens to hundreds of millions of dollars a year on Facebook. And they looked at what was the difference between them and the 99% of everybody else who was on Facebook. And they saw that they tested 11 times more creatives.
You are listening to the Shopify Solutions Podcast, a podcast for Shopify store owners that brings you concrete examples on how to build and grow your e-commerce brand. Your host is Scott Austin. He owns a Shopify agency called Jade Puma. In this podcast, Scott will share his e-commerce insights and best practices with you.
Hey everyone, Scott Austin here. As you know, as a frequent listener, I just love content marketing. I'm big into video, especially in today's world where I think video is the number one way to get your brand information out there. And I wanted to bring in somebody with a different viewpoint of this than other people I've talked to in the past. And that's actually a film creator and more of the creative side of things versus the brand side of things. So I want to introduce Jake Isham to the podcast. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You want to tell us a little bit about your credentials?
Sure. So I'll give you the 2-minute backstory. Basically, very fortunate to grow up doing art, doing filmmaking, acting, and after film school in college, I, had to figure out what the heck to do. A mentor of mine basically said, keep a camera in your hand. Do any, if you want to be a director, keep a camera in your hand. Take any job that, get paid to practice. And so I did that. I started doing that. And then I learned very quickly, I need to learn business. I need to learn marketing. I need to learn sales. I need to learn all of the other elements of business, not just here, point and shoot a camera. And from there, it's been a rocket ride. Over a decade of doing this now, and we've done over 1 billion views online. We've worked with massive brands from 9-figure Amazon seller and DTC brands to large household names like Callaway, Travis Matthew, Campari, creating content for them.
Excellent. This podcast is focused on Shopify stores and e-commerce. How important do you think video is in the world of e-com marketing and brand building today?
Oh, I mean, it's the essential thing you need. It is the way. It's the greatest leverage tool now, right? It's like, and sure, it might change in the future, but right now it is the greatest leverage tool because literally, and this was even like a decade ago, right? You could reach potentially millions and billions of people with video, but now you literally can. Your first video on TikTok, your first video on YouTube, your first video on Instagram literally can get not just thousands of views, not hundreds of thousands of views, not millions of views, literally hundreds of millions of views on your first video with zero following, with zero boosting. Like if you just make a great video, you can go viral. And if it's the right video, that video will then lead to tremendous amount of sales on your DTC store, on your Shopify store.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. One of the things you said there that I want to dig into, right? And you had a clarifier, right, or a qualifier in there, and you said, you can get hundreds of millions of views if you make a great video. What constitutes a great video? Especially in the e-commerce world today. What are some things that people should be thinking about doing to make their video great, and some things that make it not so great?
So there's a lot of different things. It's not just one thing, because in my opinion, not all views are created equal. Or I'm going to just start with this kind of disclaimer. Not all views are created equal. You can make a viral video and get zero sales because if it doesn't link to the communication of what you want, and again, this is where I'm such a big proponent of storytelling. And like, what is the message of the video? Because you can make a viral video and it doesn't do anything for your business. And I see it all the time. Content creators that have 1 million subscribers and are broke because they haven't figured out how to monetize it or how to actually connect that over between a great ad or a great piece of content to your business. So Mr. Beast, arguably the best content creator on the planet right now, he gives a really great analogy to create a viral video, which was you're driving down the street and you see a cow. Okay, nothing special about that. But you're driving down the street and you see a purple cow. It's going to make you stop the car and go, wait, what the heck? Why is there a purple cow on the side of the road? Even more, you driving down the street, you see a purple cow doing a backflip over and over. You're going to go, what is going on? I need to share this with everyone. That is what you're looking for. It takes some creativity. It takes some thought process. It takes practice. And, somebody like Mr. B says, like, yeah, you just think of it and you just do it. This is a man who's done thousands of videos. So I say this with a giant asterisk of it's okay to just practice and to just, the only way to start is to start. Your first videos are not probably going to go viral unless you know what you're doing. But if you start thinking with, okay, great, how is this unique? And so what I try to do, especially with DTC customers and clients of mine, is, okay, great, how can I show this product? I'm just pulling this off my desk as my glasses case, right? What would be an interesting idea around this glasses case? What are the key, go to your copy and look at, like, okay, what makes this glasses case different than others? Well, it's, carbon fiber, reinforced stainless steel. Well, what if you shot it out of a cannon and into a brick wall to show how strong it is? And then you ran over it with a tank. Now, look, obviously I'm talking about things that cost a little bit of money, but you can go, okay, what's the lower one? Well, let's find a buddy with an F-350 truck and run over it. Let's chuck it at a wall and let's get a local, college or high school quarterback to throw it at a wall, or a baseball player to throw it at a wall. Not going to cost you anything. There's like, hey, do you want to be in a video? I'll give you $20 or I'll buy you Chipotle. And I go, okay, sure. But now you're coming up with ideas that potentially are that purple cow. Ooh, what is something that we haven't seen? It's like, this is the strongest glasses case in the world. Let's put it to the test. I can just go on a roll for this. Feel free to interrupt me, Scott, at any time if you have any questions. But I'm a big proponent of using AI as a tool. I personally don't like AI content because I think there's a loss of humanity in it. Now, that's changing day by day by day by day. But I think using AI as a tool for research and ideas is fantastic. So put that copy in AI in your favorite, whether it's ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, and say, hey, give me 100 viral ideas here. Boom. You don't even have to really be creative yourself, but use the tools at your disposal to break down and go, okay, great. Find, look through those 100 that it gives you and go, ooh, these 3 are really good and don't cost any money to make because we don't have any money right now. Well, good. Let's try them. You never know. The videos that I've seen that have done really well, surprisingly, are sometimes the ones that I have zero effort. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let's try this. Boom. 10 million views right there. What? So you never know. And it's you start with quantity. Just start with quantity. Okay. Rant over.
The question was, what makes a video great? And what I took out of that was uniqueness and something that's eye-catching that draws people in. And both of those are related to each other, kind of thing. And I like the fact that you gave the example of the eyeglass one. I'm going to throw out a couple products and you give me a couple more ideas, right?
Yeah.
Just because I think a lot of people struggle, just like you're saying, and I love the advice, go to AI and have it give you some ideas also, because I use that every day. But I have one client who sells crackers and they're really healthy and they're made with raw food techniques. What kind of things should they think about with their video?
So the flip side of this is you don't need, again, kind of going back to that, you don't need a large quantity of views. You need the right views. You need the views from people who are going to buy from you. So yes, you can get 1 million views on your crackers, but if none of those people are going to buy from you, it doesn't help. Rather than, with that, maybe it's straight education, right? You're giving just, why are these crackers so much better compared to these other crackers, right? I'm trying to think of a unhealthy cracker brand. Ritz crackers. I don't know, saltines.
That's the most in my head, Ritz.
Ritz crackers. We all grew up eating these, but look at these ingredients. Look how bad they are for you and your kids. Look at these,
Yep.
Scott's healthy crackers. They're unbelievably delicious. And there's only 3 ingredients in these. And it's all natural, all organic. Moms, you're going to love this. Like a simple, just educational piece like that, yeah, might only get a couple hundred views. But again, if 300 people see your video and you get an extra 10 sales from that video, not too shabby. You put out 2 or 3 or 4 of those videos a day, that could be, again, another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 customers that are repeat buying your crackers. So it doesn't always have to be this big viral stunt.
Yep.
It could just be education about your product, about why it's so much better, why it's better than the competition. Think with the same way you write your copy, write your sales letters, write what you put on your landing pages. Like, it's just putting that into interesting visuals.
I want to take this example of the crackers one and run in a couple directions with it, right? So, you said a person standing there and showing A and B, and I love that. Who's that person?
It could be the founder. If the founder is passionate about their product and they're willing to get on camera. I'm a big proponent of founder-led brands, because especially like in this world where like you buy from people you know and trust. I mean, look at the largest companies some of the largest companies on the planet, like the insurance companies. They have people as their mascots. Jake from State Farm, Flo from Progressive. They've just put actors there, given them enough money so that they go, this is your job. So it could be a founder-led brand. If you're like, there's no world that I'm going to be in front of camera. I'm the business owner, or I have maybe 20 brands and I can't be in the face of all 20 brands. You could get an actor. The easiest way to cast an actor, in my opinion, is basically identify who your ideal target market is and get someone who looks like that in advertising. So for the cracker brand, I'm assuming if it's a healthy cracker, if you want to find somebody is a mom, I would assume that's a target audience. I don't know if it's the target audience,
Yep.
But get a attractive looking woman in her 30s, 40s, or whatever the right age range that you're wanting to go for, or try 3 or 4 women. Like, test the same way you would test your headlines on your sales copy, the same way you would test your font, your colors, your this, your that. Like, it comes down to testing. There's a statistic I saw, and this is a little bit more in the ads space than organic content, but the same truth applies. Facebook did a study where it surveyed the top 1% of advertisers. These guys are spending, tens to hundreds of millions of dollars a year on Facebook. And they looked at what was the difference between them and the 99% of everybody else who was on Facebook. And they saw that they tested 11 times more creatives. So for every one ad their competitor ran, these guys were running 11. So if you're running 10, they're running 111, 110, ads. Like, that's the degree of just quantity. And that's where, again, going back, like, you don't have to have it right the first time. But if you can just literally out quantity people, and you're going to win. Even if your views never got more than 300 views, right? Which most these algorithms allow you to get kind of like 200 to 300 views a video regardless. That's another 200 to 300 people every time you see a video.
Yep.
So just post more.
One of the things that, I totally agree with everything you're saying there, right? But, one of the ways to think about that is, you're throwing spaghetti against the wall. You don't know which one's going to work. Like you've already said, sometimes you're completely surprised by which things are the most successful. But the more things you try, the ones that are successful will actually happen and be successful, because, it's a numbers game.
Can I jump in with a crazy hack in terms of video conception?
Yes.
So it's not really gray hat, but this is the cheat code. If you really look at your reviews, see what people love about it, talk about that in your videos. Then the next thing is go look at your competitors or your closest type of competitors and look at all their negative reviews and go, hey, a lot of our competition struggles with, taking with crackers. The crackers are very flaky. Ours are the moistest, crunchiest, just delicious crackers. They're never going to flake on you, right? All the reasons why people are not liking others, talk about that and go, well, we solve that problem, because they're looking for something that's not flaky, that's not X, Y, or Z, and you can be that solution.
2 things I absolutely love about that, right, is one is you're identifying the problems that customers say, and 2, you're using the words they say it in. so they understand and care about what you're saying versus I'm always telling my clients is, your product description is just a spec sheet. No one gives a damn. What you really need to do is, you explain the problem you're solving or the emotion you're going to feel once you have this product. They're doing spec sheets kind of thing. So using the customer's language is a great way to really communicate them more effectively. Just repeat back what they said to you. It's like the psychologist who just repeats what you said, right? That kind of affirmation.
You do not have to be a genius. You just have to be intelligent. It's that, like, don't overthink it.
Most of my clients and most people listening to this podcast are, smaller brands. They're going to do it themselves. I'm always telling them they need to do it themselves. If they're, don't want to be their face, then they're not going to be as successful. If they get to the point where they can hire an actor, that's great. But, most small Shopify brands aren't there yet. They're creating these videos now. And now we realize we have to do 11 times more than our competition. So that's a good thing to know, right?
But you can build up to it. It doesn't have to be a day one.
Oh, I'm trying to scare him. Let's keep scaring him here.
Okay. Then you need to do 100 times more than your competition. You better outwork them. You better outproduce them.
Yeah, your acting skills are coming out here. So what I want to get, some expectation setting for these store owners is how much time and effort it takes to create a video. Like, how long is this video going to be? Just one of them, on average, what are some best practices there? And how much time should they take to create one, edit one, and all those kind of things? So if I'm going to do 3 or 4 videos a day, how many man hours of work is it every day to get that done?
I mean, it really depends. But one of the things that I do with clients is I do content days. So we go, great, we're going to just take, 5 hours on this day and go through 30 videos. Now, that's the shooting time. And, that's not the scripting, and that's not post-production, and then that's not the posting. But if you kind of think it like that, like, look, it's all marketing. So you're going to want to build on top of your marketing. So, okay, great. You're running ads. Good. Once you get that going, that's always going to be the first thing that you're going to do is run ads. And I'm assuming that's what you teach too.
I try, but you'd be surprised how many small brands do not want to do advertising. They just want to win in the organic world. It's quite a challenge.
Yeah. So if you want to win in the organic world, you have to even more master video and master content marketing. And so it's you're either going to pay for it in time or money. Ads is how you pay for it in money.
Yep.
Organic content is how you pay for it in time. And you're going to put the sweat equity in that. And so I try to you could just really, if you're a startup and you're really just trying to figure it out, I would break it up over the week. Have an idea day where you just brain dump as many ideas as possible. Then you go, great. The next day we're going to shoot as many of these ideas as possible that we think that are going to be the winners. And then you go, great. You probably need 1 or 2 days to edit that, depending on the quantity of videos you're doing. If you're doing like 3 to 4, maybe it'll be an hour. If you're going, great, I'm going to do 30 to 50 videos, might be 2 days. And then you'll need a day to schedule. Use a scheduler. It's arbitrary. Just Google best schedule, see which one you like. Buffer's good. Hootsuite. It doesn't really, there's not one that's like, whoa, that's more amazing than the other ones, in my opinion. And then rinse and repeat. Back to Monday, more ideas. Tuesday, more shooting. Wednesday, Thursday, you're editing. Friday, you're scheduling. When you're doing ideas, look at your analytics. Like, don't just be in a vacuum. You're doing this to go, okay, great. What video went viral, but also what videos led to sales? Did we put out, okay, great, we were putting out 3 videos here, and then we saw the spike in sales here. Okay, great. Look at the correlating data across traffic, across this. As you drive more traffic, you can then split test your funnels and split test your pages to see what is working. And that all starts with traffic.
In our beginner scenario, they're just getting started on this methodology, and then they're starting to schedule it out and all that kind of stuff. 2 things that I'd like your opinions on. What kind of hardware should they be looking at, and what kind of software should they be looking at?
A phone. Use your phone.
Yep.
I would pull out my phone right now, but I'm using it for this podcast. Like, you don't need fancy gear to start. You do not need. If you're going to invest in something, I would invest in a mic. This is like $100. If you're going to do talking head or anything like that, invest in. I use the shout out unsponsored to Hollyland. They're great. This is $100. These are the little the little lavaliers, they're called, that you see on influencers and content creators. You plug it right into your phone and they're amazing. Invest in that. Or if you want, like, you can do, there's all these like little nuances that you can do, and depending on the style. And I would recommend trying them all. Try the talking head, but with a little tripod. Try the selfie style. Try a POV style, in which, you know, you have a little contraption on your chest that basically shows your POV. And so you can kind of see your hands walking by using your product. So you don't have to have your face in it. But these are all different things you can try to see what works best for your brand, right? So if you have the crackers and you want to, you know, let's say, you know, there's a video of, we're going to test it with the children, and you're going around and let's say you have, you know, you wanted to create a healthy treat for your kids because everything on the market sucks. Which is a lot of reason why, you know, Tom Bilyeu started Quest bars for that exact reason. His family struggled with obesity, and 4 years later, he had $1 billion brand in Quest bars. You know, let's say with the Cracker brand, okay, great. They're, you know, giving them to the children, and you have a little POV thing. You're willing to have your children on camera, and, you know, you keep going up. They keep coming to you, Mommy, can I have some more? And then, you know, kind of jump cut, what it's called. Mommy, can I have some more? Can I have another cracker? Can I have another cracker? Can I have another cracker? Probably would get a lot of views. Really simple editing software is CapCut. It's the same company that made TikTok. They made an editing software. Instagram has a editing software called Reels. I personally haven't played with it, but I'm assuming very much just like CapCut. If you're willing to get crazy with it and want to jump in the deep end, you have a professional software called DaVinci Resolve, which is free. And any of those, but it's just start. You can also literally edit within Instagram, within CapCut, or within TikTok, and post the videos right from there.
So everybody already has the hardware they need. It's their phone, and the software. The ones you mentioned, I think all of them were just free. So there's no cost prohibition, but there's a learning curve behind them.
Unless you're technologically slow, and, you know, unless you're adverse to technology, you can pick them up really quickly.
Yep. And then you brought up the next thing, which is we're making all this content. Now we know how to make it. We got these videos. Where am I distributing it? How many different places?
I call it the big four, which is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Start with those. If you want to start with just one, start with one, but might as well just post the same video to all four at the same time. You know, if you don't want to be on TikTok, don't be on TikTok. Like, again, these are all just possible channels where people can see your product. Well, you know, I don't want to be on TikTok. It's just for kids. Well, TikTok has billions of users. Kids don't, there's not a billion kids on it. Your customers are on every platform. Your customers are, you know, learning about it everywhere. So TikTok is in a complete race to become the next biggest Amazon. They're fighting for every bit of market share out there. YouTube is the second largest search platform next to Google. So if you're making content that's a little bit more SEO driven, that's another fantastic place to put it. So is TikTok. And Instagram and Facebook are just kind of legacy social media platforms, and, you know, they're fighting for their own market share in it all, but none of it's going to hurt you. That's the simplicity of it. Posting more is never going to hurt you.
And posting in more places too. Like a lot of people I always recommend YouTube because I think the nature of YouTube, and I say the same thing you do. It's the second largest search engine, right? And that actually helps you in Google search also, because you can rank higher than your website does with your video, and it's just amazing kind of thing.
Well, you know, because Google owns YouTube. So, you know, there's an ecosystem there.
And, you know, YouTube has the shorts, you know, form factor now also. So it's not just the horizontal. You can also do the portrait. Are we doing video just all portrait, or should we be mixing it up?
To start with, yes, just do vertical videos. If you're wanting to take content creation seriously, then you can start really like focusing on building your YouTube channel, in my opinion. There's content creators who've built entire multi-million DTC brands purely off of vertical video. So it's 100% possible. It comes down to just the biggest problem you're going to have is consistency. It's okay, great, let's do it again. Great, let's do it again. Great, let's do it again. Well, I'm bored. I just did the same thing. Great, let's do it again. You know, that's going to be arguably your hardest problem, is just willing to show up. And I always compare content creation and social media to the gym. It's not always fun, but results come through discipline and consistency. You could post a video, you can go to the gym one day and eat healthy one day. Okay. If you do it long term, if you went to the gym every day for 5 years, you'd have the exact body you would want, whether it's big and buff, super lean, whatever that goal is. You would get better and better, learn more exactly how you want to shape your body to get to the ideal scene you would want to look like. Same thing with social media. If you post every day for 5 years, you'll learn, okay, oh, this video performs better. Oh, that video performs better. Oh, that video did not perform well. Okay, great. Oh, what is that other guy doing? Oh, that my competitor is doing videos like this. Let me try videos like that. The same way you would look at a guy at a gym. Oh, he's lifting like this. Let me try lifting like that. And as you keep doing it, you're going to build a bit of your own community. You're going to build these fans who not only love your content, but who love your product.
Want to build a loyal community around your brand? Events and classes are the perfect way to connect with your customers, but only if your calendar looks as professional as your store. But embedding a Google Calendar just won't cut it, as the calendar looks clunky and doesn't reflect your brand. That's why we created Branded Calendar, the Shopify app that lets you embed Google Outlook or Apple Calendars in your store while seamlessly matching your store's branding. Originally crafted for our private clients, Branded Calendar was so successful, we turned it into an app for every Shopify store. With Branded Calendar, you're in control of how your calendar looks and where it appears on product pages, contact pages, blog articles, or even your homepage. Keep your customers informed with schedules for retail hours, classes, or events. You can even share multiple calendars to meet different needs. And the best part? Branded Calendar includes a robust, always free plan so you can start building community. Risk-free. Engage your community and stay on brand with Branded Calendar.
So let's shift a little bit on this video stuff. And we're making video, we're doing it every day, we're going to the gym and we're doing it. Are we selling our products? Are we telling our story? What kind of message are we putting out there? Do we show when we go to a birthday party and show our lives, or is it business focused? What kind of content are we doing?
It's a bit of a weighted question because it depends on the brand you're building, and the channels are like your personal name, right? Jake, Scott. You might want to incorporate a little bit of that. It depends on the larger strategy at play. So it's not a one thing fits all. Now, if it is the company-led brand, you probably don't want to add your personal life into it because it doesn't make sense. And you look at brands, though, that incorporate humor. You can look at Wendy's is famous on Twitter for just trolling people and just making fun and just like making jokes and being ridiculous. But that's part of their brand. So you can kind of define the style of content you want. Do you want to be a little bit more humorous, a little bit more educational, a little bit more professional, a little bit more this, that? It's arbitrary. It's what you want to be, what you want to do and what you want to be known for. A mentor of mine gave me a beautiful analogy, which was all your organic content, do not put a call to action in. No selling in your organic content. You sell in your ads because people know when it's a sponsored ad and people know you pay for it. The same way you look at a billboard, you look at a commercial, you like, great. But if you're following people, you don't want to be sold. So that's the rule of thumb that I've always used is in my organic content, just provide value, whether it's storytelling about it, seeing the product in use, whether it's a funny video, an educational video, an entertaining video, something that feels along the brand, that feels cohesive to the product. Have a POV shot. Let's say this is a box of crackers and you as the business owner are going to Disneyland for the day with your kids. You can just get 2 seconds of the crackers in front of different rides and different areas in Disneyland, or you handing it to little kid hands, to your kids' hands and stuff. If you want to keep their faces out of it, boom, that's a piece of content, right? You can see this brand is at Disneyland. It's family friendly because you're connecting Disney with being family friendly to these crackers, which is meant for kids and families. So these little nuances that you can do, but you can do the same thing without going to Disneyland. Go to a park, go to the beach. I live in Los Angeles. Go to the beach, go to this activity, go to that activity. It doesn't have to cost anything. The cost comes in just being a little bit more creative.
Yep, that makes sense. We're out there, we're making our videos, we put them up everywhere. We're starting to figure out our brand. We have consistency in the story and messaging. One of the things that I see in video is the editor is super important. Am I overemphasizing that, or is editing where a lot of things happen? And what kind of things in editing should we think about doing?
I think it comes more from ideation. I think what's more important than editing is ideation, because the ideation will force the editing. Because you can have great ideas that take no editing. A POV shot of you doing something that's 10 seconds, a minute long, and you don't actually need to edit. You just go, okay, cut the very first second of you clicking on and getting set. And then, great, it's done. And then you have to click it to turn it off. Great, trim that. Yes, editing can be very important. But if you're like, I don't have time to edit this, then come up with ideas that are what's called a one take, right? One continuous take, and there is no editing. Okay, great. I don't want to spend the time editing. I don't want to pay for an editor. Well, great. It just takes a little bit more creativity. Now, if you're like, okay, I'm going to get an editor or I have an editor or whatever, you need to know what the editor is going to do. Unless you're going to pay them a lot of money and you're going to go, okay, great, make something cool out of this. But even then, the editor is going to be like, well, what's the idea? What do you want me to do? And that's where ideation is so important. And to take a little bit, that like little ounce of that extra prep.
To know what you want before you start the process.
Yeah. Then you could also, where it's okay, great. If you know what you want, you can also edit it in 6 different ways. And so then you have, from one shoot, you can have 6 different versions that you can test all 6 different versions from the same shoot, just with a little bit. Okay, great. Let's just do a different hook. Let's just do a different opening. Great. Or let's do the same video, but wear a green shirt instead of a red shirt. And it'll be really simple. Okay, great. Boom. There's 17 different versions. But again, you planned the 17 different versions.
Now, you mentioned, and I love this rule. I never heard this one before. Your organic doesn't have a buy now type of call to action. How do you do attribution for all this work? What can we have direct attribution on, and what is indirect, and how do we measure that?
I mean, it's pretty much ingrained, at least I know in American culture. If you're kind of interested, you're going to go to their page. You're going to go look at their profile. You're going to go, and you go, oh, what is that? And then you're going to have a link in your profile. Put your link in your profile to your Shopify site. Put your link in your profile to your Shopify site. That's the first thing you do. Your name, your icon, your link. You need to send them somewhere. And then, but what you could even do to make it a little bit more nuanced is have a specific, like if you're on YouTube, have a specific landing page for your YouTube traffic, a specific TikTok landing page for your traffic. Because your TikTok might have, let's say, getting 1 million views a month, and your YouTube is only getting 5,000 views a month. But your YouTube could be converting at like 80%, and your TikTok could be converting at 1%. So even though the TikTok's getting all these views, it could not be converting. So that's where having a little bit of that nuance of strategy to understand that can change your life, because then you go, ooh, great, I'm going to just keep posting on TikTok. But what are the videos that are performing best on YouTube? Let's double down on YouTube a little bit more. What can I do to improve the YouTube? Because you're getting the highest ROI off of that social media platform. And again, organically.
Yep. Yeah, just a side note, a technical one for the audience. What we do for our clients is we actually, because a lot of brands have a link list, right? And it's just a service where you link off and you show the different things you're promoting. But that's a third-party service, and then you take them to your website. So we've actually built out templates so your link list is in your Shopify store, but it's a nice simple page, just like the link list is. So it doesn't have the header and the footer, and it's optimized for mobile. And that way your traffic's coming directly to your Shopify store, and it's all under your Google Analytics. And it's a nice way to keep that metrics more consistent.
Yeah. And it's just understanding all of and that's where, having someone like you, Scott, to help direct them in that strategy is so, so valuable. Because, there was a mentor of mine who basically said, coaches and mentors are the cheat code to everything, because you can just learn from them because they do this. They know what they're doing. And so it's just that boom. And that's what, you're providing so much value on this podcast for all your clients that for free, they're getting all of this for free, that, it's amazing.
So we're doing content marketing and building brands for ourselves right now, which gets us business.
Yeah.
Sort of like an analogy of what we're trying to explain to the audience that they should be doing for their business, right? And it's so true. I've always believed that, you give more out than you're taking in. If you just give, people respect that, and it builds your brand. And then what happens half the time, right, is I give great advice, I think, right? And they're like, that's great, but I can't do that myself. And then they call me up.
Similar in my business, less B2C, but more B2B. It's give away the secrets, sell the implementation. So, in the same way, it's like, hey, look, this is why this product is better than all the other customers and all my other competitors, and why you need to buy it, because it's going to solve that problem that you have right now. And if you allow the content to demonstrate how it's solving those pain points, you don't have to tell them, great, and now buy it, because they're going to go, that's my pain point. Yes. And that's why looking at the reviews that are positive, looking your positive reviews, looking at the negative reviews of your customers is such an easy way to get ideas. You can also just copy paste. This is getting to the tactical of it, so nerd out with me for a second. You can copy and paste all of it, put it into an AI, have it tabulate, okay, great. What are, the main things that it says? Give me it by percentage. And then you could just keep running it through. Give me the hooks for the videos, give me 30, 40 hooks, and then, another 10 ideas for them. And you can have AI just do all of this for you. And then great. That's your day of ideation, is that you could walk away with probably 1,000 videos, and you don't even need 1,000 videos. The easiest thing I say is get somewhere between, if you get 300 ideas, and I know that sounds like a tremendous amount of work, but if you start getting on a roll and come up with 300 ideas, you just repeat that. Like, you don't need more than that. You really don't, because you'll find the bangers, the ones that do really well, whether that's in terms of views or, and more ideally, in terms of traffic, the ones that are actually sending clients to you. Because again, it doesn't matter if it gets 1 million views. If it sends 0 traffic to your Shopify site, it's a shitty video.
Yeah.
You want videos that, great, if it gets 10,000 views and you get then 5,000 hits on your website that day, and you didn't have to pay for those 10,000 views or those 5,000 clicks, do it over and over. Okay, great. How do we recreate this video 100 different ways to Sunday? We know we have a winning video. Think about what that would cost in terms of ads, and you're getting to do that organically. So yes, organic can crush. And then if you slightly more advanced strategy is retargeting ads. So great, those 5,000 customers that went to your site, let's say 1,000 of them bought, 4,000 of them didn't buy. Great, retarget. Now you can send them ads being like, hey, you want a da-da-da-da-da? Like, then sell in the retarget ads. They went to your site and they were kind of interested. Something didn't really click for them, whether their kid could have came in and was like, Mom, I need help. Help me right now. And that's why they didn't buy. Who knows? But that's where you spend the money. Retarget them for 30 days. If they don't buy, they don't buy. But rinse and repeat that model, then you'll be on the podcast telling us how successful you were.
Yeah. And, as you're talking about the AI stuff, which I totally agree with, it's just a fabulous tool. I did an episode a few weeks ago just to remind people about Notebook LM, and this is the perfect use for Notebook LM, where you can constrain it and say, only use this content. So you can put up your page of reviews and your competitors' pages of reviews, and then AI is going to stay very focused and not dream and hallucinate kind of stuff. This is the perfect use case for stuff like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
I think we covered a lot here. If you were to summarize, your sage advice you would give to a new e-commerce owner thinking that maybe they should get into video, what would you say to them?
If you start tomorrow, you've lost today. Just start. It's going to be shitty. It's going to get no views. Just know that. Great. All right. So now do it. Literally, the worst case scenario is no one sees it. So no one saw it. Okay. There's, in the same sentiment, I've been seeing these variations of these quotes from a couple of people on social media recently, which was, everything you want is on the other side of embarrassment. If you just do it, it's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be awful. It's going to be cringy. It's going to be ridiculous. You get better, and you only get better by doing it more and by learning, by willing to be humble and willing to go, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Let's try. So don't be afraid of copying others. Don't be afraid. You don't need to be original. What you do need to do is just do it.
Love it. I always give the analogy of if you saw Janet Jackson's first video, I think it was Nasty Boys. She was awful in it. She was stiff. And then 10 years later, she made the best music videos ever. It was like she was born in front of a camera. And the only difference was she'd practiced for 10 years.
I'm gonna double down on that same sentiment with another artist. For those, go look up Post Malone first music video. It is the most awkward, most embarrassing, the most just like, what is this kid doing? He is now in the top 5 streamed artists of all time on Spotify. It just takes starting, and then you're gonna get better. You look at Mr. Beast's first videos, you look at Steven Spielberg, didn't make it into film school. You look at Michael Jordan, got cut from his high school basketball team. Everybody, there's a million stories like this. You don't know unless you try.
Well, and we do know, it's our opinions that if you're not doing video in 2025, your e-commerce brand will not be nearly as successful as it could be with it.
Yeah. And that's the right way of phrasing it. That's say that again, Scott, for the people.
I think I said, because I don't remember, I think what I said is, if you're an e-commerce brand starting out and you don't do video, you're not going to be nearly as successful as if you do video.
Exactly. As if you were doing video. So you can be successful without it, but you're only going to be more successful with it.
Yep.
So why not just do it?
Love it. I appreciate all the advice you've given our audience here today. If people want to talk to you some more, Jake, how do they reach out to you?
I mean, any of the social media platforms. I mean, I have a million, because outside of running my agency, I'm full-time filmmaker and photographer also. But Jake Creative Marketing, or that's on Instagram, LinkedIn, Jake Isham. Jake spelled Jake is Ham, my last name. Reach out, shoot me a message if you need any help with any content, or if you just want to talk shop. I love talking this.
Excellent. Thanks for your time today.
You've been listening to the Shopify Solutions podcast with Scott Austin. This podcast is brought to you by Jade Puma, a Shopify-focused agency located in San Diego, California. If you like what you heard, please leave a review and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to work with Scott on your brand, email him at scott@jadepuma.com.